Mike Kibbe's the president of Freedom Works, a Tea Party affiliated group. And Matt, thanks for coming on tonight. I think you guys, didn't you win? I heard Speaker Boehner act like he won. He said we got spending cuts equal to the debt ceiling, no tax increases. What didn't you win on here?
Well, we didn't get a real spending cut, and what we're really looking for is something that gets to a balanced budget, something that satisfies markets, something that actually is real. This is a political Band-Aid. It actually cuts less than 0.5% of the total federal budget in 2012. That's not enough to satisfy markets. I don't think that's enough to get the burden of red ink off the businesses that need to create jobs.
So you want members of Congress to kill this bill tonight, to kill the debt ceiling bill tonight?
Yeah, I would vote against it.
No, that's not enough. No, you're being political here. Do you want them to bring it down tonight, defeat it?
Yes, they should defeat it, because I think on August 3rd, we can do a much better job. We can actually put real spending cuts on the table.
So you think it's better to go into August, a couple days, couple weeks? How long would you fight this without dealing with the debt ceiling issue and the default problem? How long would you fight this?
Well, it's always true that Washington won't do the right thing until you take everything else off the table. That's what we're trying to do. I think on August 3rd, you get both Democrats and Republicans to get serious about that. You still have $200 billion coming into the federal Treasury, even when they can't borrow money. That means we have money to pay the debt. We have the money to pay Medicare and Social Security.
So
but
be clear
at that
here.
point,
Don't be
everyone
political.
comes to the table.
But don't be political or cute here. You haven't been cute before. Would you not pass a debt ceiling increase well into August? Would you keep this fight going 2 or 3 weeks if you had to, and not raise the debt ceiling and risk default? Would you do that if you were in Congress?
I think you have 2 or 3 weeks before you do risk default. I've always said that we do have to increase the debt ceiling, but we also have to get a handle on the debt, because there's real factors here that matter more than a political solution.
We know all that. It's not a political solution. How many days would you go without dealing with the debt ceiling increase and risk default? How long would you keep the fight up if you were running the Congress as a Tea Party boss?
I think we have more than 3 or 4 weeks, something like that.
And you would go that full distance?
In order to get something real done, absolutely.
No, you wait and see. And when would you know the time had run out? When would you know you couldn't keep pushing for more debt reduction? When would you know?
When we don't have enough to pay the debt. Servicing on the debt.
And how would you know that?
How would you know that? That's what Treasury would tell us.
Oh, and you think they've been lying to you?
No, they're not saying that we would default on August 2nd. They're saying that we don't have enough money to pay all of our bills starting August 3rd. That doesn't mean we don't have the money to pay the debt servicing.
But you mean the United States would not pay bills that it owed starting tomorrow, and that wouldn't be a problem for our credit?
No, you're talking about a partial government shutdown.
See, this is where the BS comes in. If you don't pay your bills as a person or a company, you're in default. You're not paying your bills. How can the United States government be as good as its dollar, be credible in the world financially, if we don't pay our bills? I don't get your point here. You say just pay the interest. Who says you can just pay the interest and not pay your bills? Not pay the soldiers, not pay the Social Security checks, not pay the Medicare costs, and not pay pensions for retirees and for the military. Who says you cannot pay those bills? The people themselves want the money.
We would have $200 billion to allocate amongst various demands that the government has. All we're saying is that the government has to balance its budget, has to make those tough decisions, just like families do. You can't go out and borrow new money. Okay. If you're a family, you have to make tough decisions.
You're not answering my question. If you have a mortgage that's due, you don't say, I'll pay you a portion of this. If it's due, it's due. You can't just
That's right,
pay
but you
the
might
interest.
cut other parts of your budget to pay that mortgage.
No, you can't cut out other parts of your bills. People open up, they go to the mail today, they come home from work, and the mail's sitting in front of them. In the mail, for most people, Matt, you included, me included, there are bills. You say, pick out the bills you want to pay and don't pay the others. You say the federal government should operate like that would be a joke. We would not be able to get credit with that. You are saying that. You said just pay the interest, don't pay the bills. Do you think that's credible in the world? You think that wouldn't be default?
I don't think that's default at all. I think that's the government forced to make the same decisions every family has to make.
Well, when it's broke, when it goes into bankruptcy, See, this is the problem with your argument. You have an ideology behind you which makes sense. But the trouble with it, when it comes down to running the United States government, you guys don't accept the fiduciary responsibility to be part of the United States government, do you? You're basically still carrying placards, and you're still standing outside the Capitol yelling. But you're not willing to come inside the building and help run the government, which means paying the bills. Because you don't accept that responsibility, do you? To pay
It's
the bills.
not the job of the Tea Party to cut a beat.
Right. Thank
it's
you.
not our job to
Thank
cut
you.
a deal. It's our
Thank
job
you.
to force
You've admitted it.
politicians to accept their responsibility.
Thank you. The trouble is the Tea Party has found its way into the government. And there are guys on the Hill and women who are getting paychecks from the United States government who won't pay the bills of the United States government. How about the Congress people on the Tea Party crowd? Don't take the money for their staff. Don't take the medical. Don't take the travel to go home to the Tea Party meetings. Don't take any of that money. But they do take every red cent of it. And then they say, I'm not responsible. I'm just a Tea Party guy or a woman. I'm wearing a placard here. I'm just waving my placard. Matt, you're in the right job. You're not in the United States government. And that's where you don't belong. And thank you for being honest and saying you don't belong there. But the trouble is you got colleagues in the United States government who don't accept the responsibility to pay their bills. But thanks for coming on. Up next, why have we heard so little about the debt fight from the Republicans supposedly running to run the country? They don't really want the responsibility, do they? Mitt Romney waited 12 hours before making a statement. Boy, there's Mr. Excitement. Is it smart politics to stay so quiet, to stay out of the arena? This is Hardball, only on MSNBC.